Hey everyone, it's David Roome here with Katie, and this is part 3 of the Galaxy Explorer. I actually just forgot I'm going to turn these lights on here. Maybe we can even have one or both of these aiming down at the...
This one?
Yeah, at the surface, and then we'll get started here. We've been messing around with these key lights, and I think we kind of came to the conclusion that they just wash things out too much with our camera.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they are helpful for the overhead camera.
Yeah. Just got a little bit of a glare, so I'm just going to turn it.
Yeah, we can get them kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, Anna's here. Hello, Anne.
Good to hear from you.
And let's see here. This we can move stuff over a little bit more. Let's see here. Yeah, so we're on bag 5 here. Oh, did you build the little guy already?
No. We get 2 red ones.
Oh, okay. So there's another red one in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are not on the 5, right?
Hmm?
I'm switching my internet on my phone so I don't interfere.
Oh, yeah. I am on the 5.
Oh. Okay. I'll switch back.
Yep.
Perfect.
And did you make sure that your quality level is low?
I did.
Okay.
I'm on data saver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, 240p. That should be fine.
Okay.
And William Jeffrey Rankin is here. Hello.
Thank you for coming.
We've got some interesting stuff to talk about today, I think. Some interesting news from Twitter. I was seeing some interesting conversations going on too, and this is a fun build. Actually, this particular Lego set, I don't know. I don't think it's just because I'm sleep deprived or something, but it's kind of tricky. It's one that you have to pay attention to.
Yeah, the colors. You would think it would make it easier, but it's
Okay, there I'm seeing the camera freezing up again.
Oh.
You
Should
know
I
what?
just turn this off?
I kind of wish you would.
Okay.
Can you read the chat?
I cannot, but
okay.
it's fine.
You
it's not a big deal.
you leave that on. I'm gonna try. There's something else that I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try putting the camera and microphone on separate USB ports
Sure.
on my computer. Okay, so we're gonna lose the overhead camera here for just a second.
Sorry, guys.
Should come back. Doug Wise is here. Hello.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to delete this and add it again.
I'm just sorting here, guys, so if you hear me shuffling about, that's what it is. I'm not building without you guys, I promise.
We'll see. Some of this I wonder if it isn't like just an issue with the camera software, like it's not really expecting this camera to be used for. Is it still dark? William Jeffrey Rankin says so dark. Is it
really
still dark or because it looks good on my side here. Let me check.
We are upside down again, though.
Yeah. Okay, he says, looks okay to me. Yeah. Okay, there we go. And I'll flip it back. A little quiet. Yeah, it might be a little quiet. I'm not talking the best into the mic. We've got it moved far away. I'll move it back here. I'm gonna actually readjust this too. Okay, I'll get this. Why don't you go ahead
Okay.
and start building, and
I'll build the guy.
I'll tweak the audio stuff
I
here.
think I've built every guy that I thought you might like to, but this time I will be careful to put his oxygen pack on before I put his head on.
Okay. Yeah, what we need to do is we need to have a extra chill stream that is just David and Katie figure out
Messing around with all our
audio equipment, because
and possibly also lighting.
we have this nice equipment, and I feel like it kind of worked really well for us for a little bit, and then lately it's just not. Lately it's just not. So
Now we have
and let's see here. The levels look good. Maybe it could be a little bit
a
higher.
robot.
Let's see. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. See if that works better. I need to do some tests. Okay, and then how are we doing? I'm not seeing any stuttering anymore, but
That's good.
it also seems very inconsistent. Okay. Sounds better to me now, to
Okay,
really
good.
differentiate. Yeah, I turned up the volume a little bit. This mic really probably isn't supposed to be used for two
Yeah.
people. Sometime we should experiment with just using two mics and see if it works any better.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. A chill stream that is us dinking around with our equipment and getting the optimal settings figured out.
Yeah.
It's probably in order.
We have the mic that we use here is a condenser mic, which I don't know if those work better for sort of far like sharing between two people. It seems like they would versus a dynamic mic. I know people usually use that one Shure dynamic mic that you talk into the end of.
Oh yeah.
And the reason that we got this one is because like I do some music stuff too, so it's like it's a mic that
Can do.
you can do other things with.
Okay.
And I think it sounds pretty good when it sounds good, but for it to really work the best, you have to get right up on it, and that's not how we're using it. Here, can we keep this up
I
on
won't
the
be able to.
You won't be able to see it?
Unless
Then we got to move stuff. Just move some stuff over. That's all. I'd like to keep the instructions on the table if we can, because I want to enjoy them too. It's okay if not everything fits on camera all at once. Okay, I'm just gonna post now that we're live. So there is some interesting news today from OpenAI. Did you see this, babe?
is this about the
voice? Yeah. So they posted a blog post earlier today that said that they were taking down the Sky. They call it Sky, the name of the voice, which they've had as a voice for the ChatGPT app for several months, but it was featured very prominently in the GPT-O demo, kind of a more advanced version of it. And when that demo, the day of that demo, I don't really remember many people saying, "Oh, this sounds like Scarlett Johansson."
Yeah.
They just said, "Oh, this is the same kind of thing as that Her movie," right? And that was kind of the talk. Then they posted this blog post today that said that it wasn't supposed to be her. It is a particular person that's not her, that they paid, but they're taking it down or pausing it. And then later today, the statement from Scarlett Johansson came out, which said that they had reached out and tried to work with her last year, and she turned them down. And then Sam Altman tweeted Her, which was like presumably a reference to that movie, which seems like a really bad idea now looking back on it. And she's lawyering up, and she's won some pretty high profile cases before. Like she won a big lawsuit against Disney because they put her Black Widow movie on. You gonna just keep going?
I'm just gonna put this on the thing if that's all right with you.
She won a big lawsuit against Disney because they released her movie simultaneously on Disney Plus.
Oh, I want to read this.
So she seems to have some luck with legal battles. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I think it's kind of interesting, not just for this particular case with her, but it seems like this could be a case that gets into some of the legal issues around AI. And the reason that I bring that up is because I think it's everybody's understanding that GPT-O can basically be any voice, right? It's supposedly a fully end-to-end model, so you can tell it what kind of voice it should have, and it should be able to do it. And the rabid pro AI apologists, have this spiel about how training is fair use and things like that. So I'm curious to see if when, for instance, when the full GPT-4o voice becomes available, will they allow that kind of tell it to be any voice that you want behavior? I'm sure they'll have some kind of controls where you can't just say, I want it to sound like Scarlett Johansson, and it will just do it without protest. It'll do something like that. But that seems like a big legal gray area now that Scarlett Johansson is lawyering up. Seems like a nice high profile case that could challenge some of these assumptions about fair use and training. And I think it's kind of funny that they went out of their way to talk so much about how I'm gonna do this page too.
That's fine.
They went out of their way to talk about how they'd paid this voice actress and stuff, when their whole business is built around taking people's data without their permission for training their models. So in my opinion, if fair use is fair use, then I don't really see what the problem is with using a bunch of Scarlett Johansson's voice to train with, as long as the end result doesn't sound too much like her. And the general consensus seems to be that with this Sky voice, it sounds kind of like her, but it doesn't sound exactly like her. So I don't know, it just seems like an interesting opportunity to clarify some of these assumptions about
least legally,
about legally, can you, like, are you allowed to train on a bunch of stuff that includes somebody's voice and likeness and then reproduce images with AI that are somewhat like the thing, or is that a no-no? Right. I mean, the cat is still out of the bag. At this point, it's not going to change like open source AI or just what people do on Twitter or anything like that, but it's still pretty interesting. Okay.
All right. Excuse my reach.
Were there any other interesting conversations going on Twitter today?
I don't think so.
I saw
That's
some people
not
were
right.
talking about writing sex scenes.
Oh, I must have them. I must have whoever it is. I must have them muted.
Yep. But it wasn't like people talking disparagingly about it. But I didn't have a whole lot to say about that conversation. And then I noticed that you were talking about there's some people talking about why men don't read.
Oh, that was the other day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Today was that rather androgynous fellow quoting someone's dissertation introduction, where they said if they don't include us, presumably this dissertation was about race, but take your pick what identity politics they were playing. In their worlds with dragons, they're saying we're less real to them than dragons.
Ding, 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 ding. Well, I thought it was
a problem?
more of a lifestyle thing than a race thing, but
yeah, that's what I thought too. But
it I mean, I think we just all kind of agree you can write the kind of story that you want.
Right.
So.
Okay, now it's the other side. I'm just going to twist this for my own convenience.
This is really satisfying, all these panels that are going on here.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is about, it's like a plate and then a block and a plate, at least in thickness. So it's really got a lot of thickness to it. A lot of models the size, you'll see like 2 plates or 3 plates thickness, and this is 5 at least. Yeah. William Jeffrey Rankin, Doug Weiss says Giga Chad, yes. Yeah, exactly. And William Jeffrey Rankin said, I was afraid to click that one. I think the person that you quote tweeted blocked you because it was showing weird when I was clicking on it.
Oh, yeah. I think they went private for a while. That's kind of why I added the pictures to my tweet. Because I figured that would happen sooner or later. Because when I first looked at it, people who disagreed had just found it. You know, people who had nothing but good things to say, right? Like, I want to read that dissertation, and yes, this is exactly how I feel. The comments were full of those, and just a few people being like, "Yeah, you're kind of crazy." So I figured, as those began to pile up, they would probably go private. Okay, should I hand this back to you?
Yeah.
So you're on this page.
Yeah. Whoops. Looks like more plates. Here, I got it.
Oh,
I got
okay.
it.
I'm sorry.
I got it.
So I did these ones back here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. It's the wings. So we'll go like this.
Fun.
Okay.
Let's see.
I got it.
What else did I? Oh, Tim O'Burnham was posted the one fantasy trope must go.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Dragons, Dark Lord, Chosen One, party on a quest.
Some of those aren't really tropes. I would say a trope has to be a little bit more complicated than a party, but I don't know. Like maybe chosen one is a better example of a trope than
like common elements.
Yeah.
Like dragons, that's not a trope.
Yeah, it's not a trope, it's just a thing.
That's a I said that I wouldn't choose. Like, no, this is how I like my fantasy. Try to think if there's anything else here.
All these little angles that fit together in here are nice.
Oh, were you talking about Timo's if only I had some experience, then it would be easier to write about sex?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was funny.
Well, actually, no, I wasn't actually thinking that. I was thinking about a different one, but that was another one that came up today. I was thinking, something I didn't say about that, but, it's like you don't have to have experience about the exact thing that you're writing about.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have experience fighting demons with magic swords. That's what my book is about.
Yeah, he was quote tweeting somebody who said that that writing a sex scene was surprisingly difficult.
Okay, so he was quote tweeting that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, and of course, like basically everybody was replying to that tweet saying, "Just fade to black."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, that's fine. So your solution to writing a sex scene as hard as don't. That's fine. It's kind of not a very productive discussion, though, in my opinion. I mean, it is what it is, and I get that people don't like that, but it's like not helpful.
Did you do both pages?
Nope, I just did this one. You can do this one.
Okay.
So it's like filling in these parts. We could each do one side, I suppose.
I got it. I'm upside down.
Yeah, William Jeffrey Rankin says, man, there'd have to be a good reason for it. And I think, I agree. And I think that there can be good reasons for it. I think a lot of the people who are just like, oh, just fade to black, they're thinking small, and they can't imagine why you would have a good reason for it.
Yeah.
And I mean, not every story needs it. Not every story is about that, but it's just like anything else. I mean, like, do you need to show acts of violence? Probably not. You could probably write a story where you basically just describe a lot of different things in very vague language.
C.S. Lewis's famous "There was a battle."
Yeah. And everybody's welcome to write what they want, you know, but...
Yeah. I mean, just because there's a sex scene doesn't make it, like, erotica, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. What's going on here? Okay, I think that's it. Oh wait, no, it's not. Where are those?
The ones with a stud on each end?
No, these flat ones.
Flat ones, probably alongside here. Yeah, see there's...
Oh, I see, okay.
We're filling in all of this stuff.
Okay, well, there's a lot of things that...
This is
all
kind of a tricky build. Just the fact that there aren't a ton of different colors makes it hard to see what is going on each step.
And I've said before that some indie stuff could stand to have a little bit more sexual tension.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a sex scene, but some, you know,
A little
at least act like men and women are attracted to each other. Right?
It's
like,
a little bit more romance, a little bit more sexual tension, whatever you want to call it. You know, maybe if you did that, it wouldn't be awkward to write more than just a fade to black.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, think about what people would actually do.
Yeah.
You don't have to be pornographic, but I don't know. Everybody's welcome to write what the kind of thing that they think is important and what they want to write. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But to Timo's tweet, you don't have to have actual experience.
Right.
Just don't do too much research. Nice. This is really satisfying size of model.
My turn?
Mm-hmm. And it says, I don't know, I could just stare at you after being your work friend for 2 months. I'm not sure what that's a reference to.
I think she's just talking about being awkward.
Oh.
You know, instead of like...
Oh, yeah. Like, writing from experience or something. It's kind of funny that we haven't filled in these little holes yet.
Yeah.
I wonder what they're going to be. Oh. She's clowning on the long moonlight.
Oh, yeah.
She says, never not angry about that one. Yeah, you were saying that one had some kind of awkward romantic stuff in it.
There was no romantic stuff in it. That's the thing. It was, and they got together. Mm-hmm. One thing led to another. Exact quote.
One thing led to another.
Yep, and then now we're in a relationship.
And there was no like actions that led up to it or anything. Nope. That is pathetic.
That was my big criticism of that.
The thing is that book. It's like anything else. You can establish all of that stuff in just a couple of sentences here and there. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even take that much. You don't have to write pages about it. You can just write a sentence here or there, and all of a sudden it'll all be believable. There will be sexual tension. There will be, everything. It doesn't take much, but people just aren't willing to do it because I'm a pulp.
Yep. Gotta keep moving.
Yeah, gotta keep moving.
That stuff's not interesting.
Mm-hmm. We wouldn't want somebody to think that this is like a YA romance with characters that have arcs or interesting. There shouldn't be anything interesting about this book except for people punching each other.
That's my big criticism of like the pulp like movement currently, is that they don't seem to think that people are interesting. Just punching, right? Just mm-hmm. the action is interesting. Well, I think people are interesting, and that's kind of why I read about characters.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here we're building these modules that are going to go on the end of the wing. Do you want to build this one, and I'll build this one?
Oh, sure. The real problem with The Long Moonlight is that it was leading, like their relationship was leading up to her dying and him going on a revenge spree, and there was nothing, like, as a reader,
you didn't really care when she died.
I didn't. I was like, oh, I see it coming. Yep. All right. Well, that's a thing.
And how hard is it to make somebody care about a character so that they feel bad when they die? Can't be that hard.
But all of the guys in the book club were like, well, you just knew that he cared. It's like, okay, well, I'm glad that's enough for you guys. It wasn't for me. Oh yeah, Razor Fist book. Yep.
Oh, look at that! It got even wider. No, this is not right.
Is it mine that goes there?
Nope. It's just it's not sticking out correctly. I wasn't getting all of the. There it goes.
Oh, okay. Anne says, look, Razorfist is great, brilliant man. But he has also said books don't need a middle. The middle is where your characters develop.
I think that it's very easy to have a middle that's too long. So, but, I mean, the characters develop throughout the whole thing, right?
There's a pretty famous quote by somebody, and I don't remember who said that most books have a beginning, a muddle, and an end. But that doesn't mean that you don't need a middle.
A beginning, a muddle. That's great. Okay, cool. All right, next bag. One more bag?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm feeling good tonight.
You're hopped up on coffee.
I have not had any coffee today.
Wow.
Can you believe it?
You had Dr. Pepper.
You're right, I did. I haven't had Dr. Pepper in a long time.
Yeah. Oh, and we need this black.
Okay,
black
I'll look
piece.
for it.
Yeah. And says, I was sitting there reading the book wondering why I like this dude. Why does she like him? Who is she? Why am I here? And then she said, if it is ever a movie, they need a really charismatic actor to carry it. Mm. And William Jeffrey Rankin says, no coffee all day, madness. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's one of the cool things that movies can do is you can take really sort of mediocre source material, maybe characters that aren't very likable, and then if you just have like a likable, charismatic actor, they can turn likable.
Unfortunately, I'm going to guess that that's not going to be a priority in any indie movies.
What, likable characters or charismatic
actors?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I thought you were gonna say movies were not gonna be a priority because books are the best medium, right?
My turn. Is it just really just set in there?
I think.
I'm sure we're gonna.
Yeah, we'll find out. I think it does though, because I think the idea is that it slides.
Oh.
Like this.
That's funny. So it must get covered up a little bit or something.
Yeah, something will probably go over the top.
Yeah.
At some point.
You're gonna do the next page.
Yeah. Okay. So now here we're layering on a whole bunch of blue over stuff, and this is where this is gonna get covered up. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
yeah. That's great.
Both of these big ones are gonna go here.
Yeah, I stand by my recommendation of The Long Moon Night.
Whoop.
But
yeah, that goes there. Right?
It's definitely with the caveat that, like, you need to be the kind of reader who is looking for that kind of pulp. I'm sorry. I'll just.
Why?
I was just sorting.
Why?
Can I sort these ones?
You can sort whatever you want. Well, and I don't, I wouldn't have problem with people writing books like that.
Oh, absolutely.
But their problem is that
They're kind of aggressive.
They have this attitude that is not just, oh, this is a form of story. This is the only kind of story.
The only one worth anything. The
only one worth writing, the best form. Everything else is a cheap ripoff of it. Everything else sucks. It's not. So I'm, when I know that people have that attitude, and my personal program is, it's not my favorite type of story, and I want everybody to be able to get discovered and publish things, and be able to publish things that don't necessarily fit into exactly the definition of pulp or whatever. Then that's not the first. You can do this next page.
Oh, sorry.
That's not the first thing that I'm going to support with my money, And some of these same people tend to say things like, oh yeah, books are fungible, but they're not,
Right.
People have, if you have a limited amount of time, you're going to choose which books you're going to read.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of different things that could influence that decision.
Yeah.
Anne says that the action scenes were really good, and there were great descriptions, and the environmental elements in the fight scenes were top notch, but I felt like I knew the door better than the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, he was a quippy thief. I got the impression that book was heavily inspired by the video game Thief.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I would like to, if I didn't need another hobby, it would be interesting to read it and compare to what I know about Thief. Was it kind of a steampunky setting? And was the character do a lot of sneaking around in the shadows, disarming traps and stuff like that? Shooting arrows into machines and stuff like that.
No, I don't.
Solving environmental puzzles.
This is why I write down all of my thoughts.
Knocking out lights so people didn't see them. Stuff like that.
I don't know, babe.
Okay.
I'm. See, if you had asked me about interpersonal stuff, and there was interpersonal stuff to remember, I would remember that stuff. But the.
Yeah, Anne says Razor's a big fan, so it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought I remembered hearing that, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, to me, he, even though I'm not familiar with a lot of like D&D or video game stuff or like class, character classes, it felt very like
video gamey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Thief isn't D&D. It's
well, whatever you choose classes for. I don't know.
Yeah. What
do you choose classes for?
D&D or some kind of RPG.
Yeah.
Thief isn't really an RPG though. It's what they call an immersive sim. It's maybe one of the first immersive sims.
Okay.
It's like a game that involves a lot of stealth and interacting with enemies that have complex behavior.
Okay.
So there's in those kind of games, typically and people like to say, oh, there's no such the genre isn't a real thing. Immersive sim genre doesn't sound familiar. But the common element is that you are sort of interacting with and trying to figure out how you want to interact with different systems. Whether those are enemies that have certain behaviors or just environmental challenges. And typically I think in immersive sims there isn't necessarily one right way to do things. You kind of have choices. And they're often first person games with first person shooter elements, but usually they're slower paced, so it's less about actiony stuff, and they're not really like RPGs, so you're not leveling up a character necessarily. They're more about interacting with stuff. So Thief the Dark Project was one of the first. System Shock and System Shock 2, and then BioShock is one of the most famous immersive sims.
Okay.
Oftentimes they have a lot of environmental storytelling in them too. So there's a lot of world building and complexity to the world that kind of explains the weird systems that you're interacting with, but it's not told with cutscenes. You're discovering it.
Okay.
Kind of as you go. There's enough qualities to these games that I think you can make a case that there is a genre, because if you say this is an immersive sim, then there's a list of things that you would expect to be in it. Okay. They're usually kind of dark tonally too. Okay, so we're building up the sides of the fuselage here. Has anyone in the chat played an immersive sim? And if so, what did you think of it? I have not played Thief, but I have played BioShock and BioShock Infinite. I really liked BioShock Infinite. I did not like. I thought the story was really terrible and turned me off of playing video games for a couple of years, actually. It was so bad. And I've been meaning to, like everything else, I've been meaning to play the System Shock remake. That looks really good. And I know another really good one that came out a couple of years ago was the 2019 Prey game. And I think people consider Control to be a bit of an immersive sim too. Although that's more maybe light on immersive sim and a little bit more on just kind of being action. Okay, William Jeffrey Rankin has played Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite. Yeah, Infinite had a really cool setting, and I was when I played it, it was like maybe one of the games that I was most excited to play. But I really didn't like how the story just really quickly descended into just a kind of a gore fest. Like that point where Elizabeth, either you or Elizabeth stabs the leader of the one group to death with the scissors. It's like, what am I even doing here? Like, at that point I had lost track of who I thought was the good guy and who was the bad guy, and it just seemed like kind of pointless violence. And there's 2 beds.
Oh, okay. Should I build one?
Yeah. And then the ending I was really, really disappointed with. The ending of Infinite. Because it was like, okay, I should have just not played this game. The setting was really cool, and the time travel stuff was really interesting, but just not a nice, very the opposite of good-hearted. Whereas I felt like the original Bioshock was very dark, but you could sort of do the right thing, and it had a very you could have a very positive ending, have a very positive conclusion. Yeah, the beds are designed so that they can lay down in them with their backpacks. Yeah. William Jeffrey Rankin said, I don't think I finished Infinite. I enjoyed the original more. Yeah. And the original one had really a good, really interesting setting too. It's one of those games where you see the right here. Okay. You see the screenshots, and it's just like these dark underwater tunnels, but there ends up being a ton of variety in the environments. It's very colorful and interesting, and it went, I think, down before. Very colorful and interesting, and just a lot more fun of a game. Still, still really dark. Still really dark, but a lot more fun. What you looking for? Here, I'll get the other one. The other thing I liked about the original Bioshock is I think it came out in, I want to say, like 2006 or so, and I played it in 2011. So it was a few years old when it came out, and I had just built a PC in 2010, so I was kind of like catching up on games. I hadn't had an anywhere near up-to-date PC, but I was pleasantly surprised by Bioshock. It felt kind of retro in a lot of ways, like the way the mechanics worked as far as picking up weapons and save points and finding audio recordings on the map. It felt kind of retro, and I enjoyed that about it. It was not overly complicated. I had played Mass Effect 1 and 2 around the same time, and I really liked those games, but they felt very modern, like with a lot of gear and levels and abilities and dinging around in menus and stuff. And Bioshock was just really it was kind of simple and nice. It was a nice game to just jump into. You could just kind of jump into it and play it. And you didn't, with the immersive sim aspects, you didn't have to do certain things. You could kind of play it the way you wanted to, and I like that.
All right. Do you want to build these boxes?
Yeah. Is there 2 of them or just 1?
I think there's 2, but I think they
Okay, yeah, we'll just building 1 here first.
Okay.
So we got to build a couple of little nozzles here. Michael Kane says, "Why do I never see the links?" You need to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to enable notifications.
I tried to post on my channel as well. I make a post sharing the link.
And the reason you don't see the links is Twitter's evil and suppresses YouTube links because they don't want anybody to have fun. This is both of them here.
Oh, okay.
Because the backpack goes in the other one. Nice. Sorry, babe, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
I retweeted your tweet with an image, so I did my due diligence, algorithm wise.
Yeah, and you retweeted my tweet, not the link.
The
link, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know how good your engagement is, so.
Wow. Ouch. My heart. Yeah, I haven't been for a while. I was watching my engagement really carefully, and I was doing a lot of work to try and boost it, and then just
sounds like Michael Caine found it through your link. So
okay.
Yeah, I was too. I've kind of slacked off on that somewhat. Here, do you want to do this side and I'll do this side?
Sure.
So we're doing, it's 2 pairs of these things, 8 total, and 1 of these on each side covering this.
Okay, hole. On either side of the...
Yep. Yeah, I'm still kind of careful in how I interact with people. I think that's helpful. And I don't tweet links. Like I rarely, if ever, tweet a link to my book anymore. So the only links that I usually tweet are links to YouTube videos, which I feel like are engaged with pretty well. So I think a lot of people.
I'm lost. I got those.
Yeah, you're done.
Oh, where are these?
This just goes right there, over that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry.
I think a lot of people feel like they don't get good engagement because they just don't post stuff that people actually want to click on. So it ends up being this kind of cycle of negative reinforcement. Mm-hmm. If you post stuff that people do click on, then Twitter's going to show it.
I think I have a pretty good click-through rate.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just check what it is currently.
Is that
it's down 66% right now.
Click-through rate?
Link clicks.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's just the number of link clicks, though, not a rate.
Well, okay.
So it's hard it's hard to make judgments about engagement from a total number because that could vary from week to week.
Yes, I think I have a good one.
Put the pieces on.
I didn't. I wasn't saying that was my rate. I was saying that I think I have a pretty good rate.
Yeah. No, and I agree. I think both of us have very good engagement for the number of followers that we have. And I think that's because we're careful. We're somewhat careful about what we post.
More gray.
Okay. Yeah. So we've got a lot of comments in the chat here. So yeah, Michael's talking about, and Anne are talking about reading Michael's book, I think.
Yep.
Or Razor's book, one of the two. And Michael Caine says, I think for writers, if your book is quick to find a buyer or pin tweet, you're probably okay to only very rarely post links to your book. And I agree. And my theory, and I have some data to back this up, because there have been times when I've like posted about my book and I've sold copies, and I've sold more copies than link clicks on Twitter. So these are two, just two, so we can do. Is that a lot of times people don't actually buy the book from the Twitter link. Mm-hmm. They will go into Amazon or their Kindle or something separately and just type in the name to search for it and buy it that way. Yeah. So if that is true, which I really think it is, then you don't have to even post a link to your book. You can just post an image of it, mm-hmm. and say the title. Then you avoid the link click. You avoid the link suppression if there is any. And it doesn't really stop people from getting it, because, one of the advantages of Amazon is that if your book has a unique title, people can just Google the title, and the first thing that comes up will be the Amazon listing, and then they can hit it. So I think links are on Twitter are a little bit overrated. Or like if you have a website that links to Amazon, they can buy your book through the
this one goes over
through the website. So there's a lot of different ways that I think people buy books. So I think certainly like having good practices on Twitter, I think, can help, but it isn't an end all thing. You're putting mine.
No, I'm not. I'm doing this page. Oh, this is they turned it around. How was I supposed to know?
Okay.
No wonder I was confused.
All right, it's looking good.
So I do a lot of...
Should we do one more bag?
One more?
Yeah. Did we ever use one of these?
Yes.
Where?
In
Oh yeah, those. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I used 2 of them.
Yeah, let's do one more bag as long as people are watching.
That's what they came for, right?
The Legos?
The Legos.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, so just some more stuff that Michael Caine is saying, only when it's relevant, share links. I agree. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's kind of a thing where it's like, if you post links when it's relevant, then, and then people do click on your links, that's a signal to the algorithm that your links should be shown because they're relevant to people.
Yeah.
So that's what you want. Anne says, well, I already feel like your characters are engaging, your descriptions are rich without being bogged down. Love the way you describe light. So she's stalling reading. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Like, I used to have pretty good luck. I would spend quite a bit of time looking for people asking for book recommendations on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And it was sometimes a pretty easy sale if people were asking specifically for an indie book, and named, you know, like sci-fi, fantasy, horror, like I could generally make a sale. I just don't have the time to do that now. And I've sold a couple recently just off of Twitter. I think it was Aristophanes or whatever his face is, the big right-wing account. He's like, I need a book to read or something, or I need something to do. And
Stop.
What?
You gotta put the pack
yeah,
on.
I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm just moving the pieces with my fingers.
I just didn't want you to make the same mistake I did.
He and I just posted like, you should read this weird book, and with a link to my book. And I don't think he bought it. My guess is somebody else did, but I sold a copy.
Nice.
So, yeah, you can. I think Twitter likes people being like weird and sarcastic about it too. So, you know, if you can sell your book in kind of an ironic or goofy way, then that helps because it's like entertaining. People are coming to Twitter to be entertained, not to have a book sold to them. There's this author called S.A. Ernster. I don't know if you follow her. She has this book called Die Rock 88. It's like a sci-fi fantasy book. And she has a lot of really funny tweets. Like, she said that if she got enough followers, she'd shoot a copy of her book. And then she has these tweets about like where she's lurking around different places, like ambushing people to sell them her book.
Fun.
And they're just made up like photo like composites. So I think stuff like that, in my opinion, is more, especially for Twitter, it's kind of like what the medium wants. So it's more useful than just like tweeting out a link. And I don't know if she ever tweets out links, but it's like it doesn't matter because I can find her book. She's got a link to it she's got a link to her Amazon profile in her profile, and I can Google the name and I know it's gonna come up. Like if I Google, you can go ahead and if I Google Die Rock 88, the very first things that come up are interviews with her, links to her Twitter,
I see. Okay.
a little ways down is the Amazon page, but everything else up above it is her. So, you know, you don't need to post the link. Oh, and I mean, Michael Caine, like, you definitely sold a few copies of my book with your posts about it too. So, for sure, readers recommending a book, I think, goes a lot farther than an author just retweeting the same link. I used to try to just tweet a link to my book every few days, just to keep things going. But again, that was kind of when I was focused more on trying to sell it. And you know, maybe at some point, if I have some new stuff, I'll hit that a little bit harder, but it's not something I feel the urge to do right now.
So we've got several different printed pieces here.
Yeah, they're really cool. Here, move them over a little bit because you're right under the second camera.
So here's kind of a video cam in green showing one of our astronauts outside. Here's radar.
And we've got the very classic space control panel here.
I don't know what that is. Systems? Maybe?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Got several of these just sort of panels.
This is exciting. We're getting to the exciting part of this now.
And then there's a second panel, just generic panel. All featuring some really nice green.
Exciting.
Michael Caine says, "Love me some printed parts."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the great thing about this set is I don't think it has a single sticker in it. It's all printed.
Let's see.
Oh, that's satisfying how that fits in there.
Just gonna check. Yeah. So Michael Caine was talking about after Moses search results. Amazon comes up, and then Wikipedia page for Joshua. But then there's the book result, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then videos, then Quora, of course. Yep. It's full of Bible stuff.
Yeah, and that's definitely a more. I mean, I think it's a good title because it communicates some things about the genre, but it's like a less specific, so it's going to be something that's going to be harder to Google. William Jeffrey Rankin said, more engagement because the content is fun equals more conversion. Exactly. And I mean, I think that's what building a social media platform is about. It's about creating value for people apart from just your thing that you're trying to sell.
Yeah.
And William Jeffrey Rankin also says, I rarely tweet book links now, maybe when something new is out. Yeah. I think that's just a good best practice.
There I am. Okay, if I add Caine, after Moses Caine, I show up on the first page.
So the instructions here says the pilot of the original set used a single steering wheel to control the craft. The updated version also has upgraded controls, 2 steering wheels. You can see how this diagonal building lets the control panels sit at an angle. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Okay.
And then if I switch out Caine and I say after Moses review, I'm the 4th. Eclectic Theist is first.
So the original, and this is another note, the original Galaxy Explorer bore the designator LL928 on a 1x4 brick. On the modern version, the ship LL928 is printed on a 50% larger brick at the 1x6. Okay, so yeah, we're putting these in now. You want to do one side and I'll do the other?
Sure, where am I putting it? Okay. With these stripedy pieces.
Okay, I see. So we are missing a no, okay, we're good.
Okay.
Did you get the right side out?
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. And then these little ones, right?
Yep.
To fill in that. Very cool. It's coming together, guys.
Yeah, this is going to be a great bag because we're adding all the details now. The canopies are in here and everything too. To clean those off. Okay, and this one is going to go in here as well. Okay, you want to do this one? Should we keep taking each side? It's kind of a nice way to do it.
I'll do this guy.
Oh, yeah.
If I can manage it here.
Yeah, Michael Caine says that's another great thing about the modular buildings. Always printed, no stickers ever. I guess it's really kind of...
I screwed up.
Yeah. It's getting to be... It's getting to be...
Is there supposed to be a second one on top of that? Because this is high here.
Yeah, that's how it is.
But what
Okay, here we go. Daddy will figure it out for you. Okay, so this one goes here like this.
But what's it? Oh, it's long. Oh. Okay, all right. I got it now. I got it now. I figured it out. Stop laughing at me. You're so mean.
I've heard it and seen it's getting to be kind of a mixed bag with some of the more grown-up Lego sets where they are tending to include stickers now. Like the that new rocket set that they came out with has stickers. And that was one of the really cool things about the Saturn V set, is that it didn't. All of the letters were printed.
Cool. Smudgy. But it's like texture that's on the. It's not actual smudge.
You've smudged it. All kinds of fun stuff in here now. Okay, so yeah, we're building a little control panel here.
Can I build this one?
Yeah. Just don't stick it on that side. It's flipped around, see?
I'm struggling.
Michael Caine mentions how they just announced the Baradur set. And he'd rather have Rivendell, but he likes his city. Yeah. The Baradur set is cool, and I think we'll definitely think about getting it at some point, but I think of the two, if I had to choose one, I would rather have Rivendell.
Mm-hmm.
Baradur is just not it's not an iconic location, right? It's an iconic image, the tower with the eye, but it's not an iconic place that you ever see the inside of, really, in the movies. I mean, I think there's like one shot of the movie of Sauron on his throne.
Maybe in the extended editions.
Yeah.
Not in the theatrical.
And then you see
which are the superior movies.
You see Gollum getting tortured, which I think is in the Lego set, which to me is like not really appropriate, you know, doesn't spark joy, as they would say. So, you know, it's just not as iconic. I thought maybe they would do something like a little, Doug Weiss is just Gollum getting tortured once. Yeah. It seems to me like they could have done something a little bit more iconic and it could even be a set that's bigger than Rivendell.
Oh my goodness, if they did Bag End.
Well, just don't interrupt. What I was going to say was something that's bigger than Rivendell. And we know that people will buy a Lego set for $700 or $800 at this point because they've made these giant Star Wars sets. So, something like Rivendell where it's long. And then this is what I would do. I would have like a little Baradur on one side and a little Cirith Ungol on the other side, and then I would have Mount Doom in the middle. And then you could have had the iconic scenes. So you could have still had the eye and everything. You could have had a little Mount Doom that had a little entrance that they could go into, and the lava and an eagle and stuff, and you could have had Cirith Ungol and some orcs and stuff there. Like they have these orcs, but it's like you don't see orcs in Baradur ever really in the movie. It's just the whole set just seems like kind of a stretch, I guess.
Somebody has to torture Gollum.
Is what I would say. Is it's just like, it's like they assume that people want the eye on their shelf, and then they had to build something that resembles like a Lego playset around it, which just seems to me like kind of a lost cause, you know, because you have everybody in their Mordor gear, but there's nothing to play, you know. There aren't any iconic scenes there that you can do with any of them, whereas Rivendell is full of iconic scenes because you have the Council of Elrond, you have Frodo waking up in bed, you have Arwen fainting on the couch, you have the sword being reforged, you can have Merry and Pippin sneaking around.
Yeah, there's lots.
It's actually something that you can kind of play with.
Or set up
different ways.
Different ways, yeah.
You know, like we were having, like I was having fun. I had that one elf sneaking around watching Arwen.
Peeping.
Like, I don't know if you can really do anything like that with the Barad-dûr set. You build it and it just kind of is.
It would have been cool if they had done like a smaller set with a bunch of orcs. I could be convinced to buy that. But like, I think Michael Caine said, it's so tall that it's kind of hard to display.
Yeah, I mean, where could we possibly fit a tall Lego set? There isn't a place for it.
But it's okay. You guys don't take this out of context. It's huge and it's black and it's like
yeah,
it's not very aesthetically pleasing.
That's honestly another thing about it is I don't really think the tower itself looks that good.
Yeah. It's got kind of that weird gray part with the stones kind of running through it. And like the colors for it's got that like lime green clear stuff on top of the lava. The colors are kind of odd.
So I put these in, and just the way I did is I put the dot part at the bottom.
Perfect. Okay.
So you can do that with yours too.
Michael Caine says, I expect if this one continues to do well, they'll do Helm's Deep or Hobbiton. William Jeffrey Reagan says, how about a Barrow White set? With a Hobbit or two and Tom Bombadil, I'd buy it.
The like naked versions of all of Frodo and Merry and Pippin.
No. They are in death clothes.
Naked.
They take them off, and it's just
they what?
Sam, Merry and Pippin. Frodo never is in those clothes, or he never puts his clothes on. So you guys don't believe me. Okay.
You want to do that side? It's the same page, but you can do. We've been doing each trading off the sides.
Yeah, they like Tom Bombadil tells them to take off their clothes, and Sam, Merry, and Pippin put on their clothes, and Frodo talks to Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, they're talking about an Edoras set would be cool.
Oh yeah, like an Eowyn.
Yep, and you could actually do the village. You could do the city like on the hill with a few buildings.
That would be cool. You guys, I've dropped a transparent piece.
Wow. Now you've done it. The ship is no longer airtight. And then they're also talking about, Doug Wise points out that if you did a Moria set, you just have 1,000 columns and then a lava bridge.
Yep.
And mentions the big stairs that you can throw Wormtongue down.
Yes.
Well, I think we'll just go on baby. You backed
yeah.
the chair up into the
I
shelves.
heard that. Yep.
We'll find it. We'll find it later. We gotta.
Oh, there it is. Huh.
We just gotta keep going. All right, I'm gonna start in on this page. It's okay. Yeah, there's so many more things that have an opportunity for play and interactivity than Barad-dûr.
Mm-hmm. You didn't put yours on that side.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, where is it? Where is it?
Anne says the Stables Ultimate Horse Girl set.
Where is it, babe?
Right here.
Where is it? This is very big interior to this set.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Caine says he doesn't really like Lego horses.
I was a horse girl.
I think Lego horses are fine, and they're better now than they were when I was a kid because they have more joints and stuff.
Didn't one come with this set?
I don't think so.
Oh.
You wanna?
Oh, sure.
You fading?
I am losing focus as well. Where is it?
Where's what?
This thing. Thank you.
Just work over the table.
I'm trying. It fell off the table. I'm not doing it on purpose, I promise.
Okay. There we go. Yeah, Michael Caine says, okay, that's fair. I don't have a modern one. Doug Wise says he likes the Playmobil horses. I never had any Playmobil stuff as a kid, so I don't have the comparison. There are a few really good sort of modern Lego sets with horses. The Lord of the Rings sets that they came out with in 2011 or 2012 or whenever that was, a lot of those sets have horses because you have Gandalf's horse, you have the ring wraiths, and they're all pretty cool. Like the little set that's I think it's called Gandalf's Arrival. That's the little cart, his little cart with the fireworks in it with Gandalf and Frodo. That's a really great set in my opinion, and it's all built around a horse. Okay, cool. I'll do this. This is
more panels.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where this camera can focus, but there's a little image of one of the space guys on there. Maybe. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, Doug says a little rigid, the Playmobil ones, but the Lego ones have a distinct unnoble steediness to them. Which is odd because they're kind of designed for knights and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So I got the this is a little dusty.
Yeah, you just blew dust
I'm sorry.
into me.
I'm sorry, I wasn't
You. Best not to wipe it with your fingers anyway.
Okay.
We'll dust it later with the duster.
I'll just twist him. I got the forge set.
Yeah, that thing is really dusty. I need to dust it.
And the head is articulate, but yeah, it they're kind of well, they're all right. The back legs articulate.
They rear up.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know what more you want.
That's what it is. He rears up. My dusty carriage and my knights.
Here.
What?
It's your turn.
Okay.
Here, I was just gonna show how they rear.
Yeah. You might have to take it.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
I'll stop telling you how Legos work.
Yeah. I'm the Lego expert. I'm the Lego expert. So the old ones couldn't they could move their head, but they didn't have a articulating rear end. And the new ones have they have a little bit more well-defined hoof to them. So, I like them.
Yeah. Well, and I think an Edera set has a lot of really cool potential because they did some really cool stuff in the movie. There's some really awesome details that have a lot of potential to be interesting visually for Legos. You know, if they did it nice. Like I feel like they captured the feel of Rivendell pretty well in that way. Okay, back to you, my love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Doug says those are definitely better than the early to mid-90s horses. Mm. Yeah, and I think it's a great example of modern Lego kind of, you know, making something that is not on a different planet from what they did before, but just making it better. Another example of that is the cannons that were in the pirate sets and stuff. I guess originally over in Europe they were like spring loaded, so you could put things into them and pull back and shoot, but they never were in the US. Well, the modern ones are spring loaded. They look identical, but they have a spring loaded shooting capability.
Cool.
All right. So it looks like we're building this little sliding door frame. I'm pretty excited about this part.
Fun.
This is like just a nice little build. A lot of detail in a small piece. People who complain about small parts in modern Lego sets, I mean, this is great. I think this kind of thing is worth having.
And building together.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Wise says, how did the mega Legos are terrible and made for dumb people thread from Twitter not make it into the list of topics?
Oh yeah, just because that guy is like either an idiot or a not funny troll, so I didn't want to give him any oxygen. It's really funny. He was like aggressively arguing and calling people names, like everybody who was talking with him.
Did I see this?
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
In a not funny way.
In a not funny way. Because I mean, I appreciate trolling, but it just wasn't very clever or interesting. And it makes me think that, like, I joked in my thread about realizing that he was trolling, but I'm not really sure that he was. I think he might have just been dumb.
Oh.
And you know, in that case, it's like somebody who is being that aggressive, I'm not really sure whether they're trolling or not. And if they're not trolling, they're just dumb. It's like it's kind of, as soon as I saw that, I quit. I went back and forth with him a little bit because he had he had a lot of followers, so it isn't necessarily bad for your engagement to go back and forth with people who have a lot of, like, a good follower-following ratio. But I just eventually quit because I'm like, this guy is acting like a very mentally unstable person, so I didn't want to keep going. Yeah, the Michael Caine interacts with him a little bit too, but it's just like factually wrong. And there is something to the idea that, just having a lot more tiny parts sort of makes Lego less of an imaginative toy, because you can actually implement details instead of filling them in your imagination. But he wasn't arguing that. He was arguing that they're simpler, so that's just wrong. So even if there would have been a way to make his argument, which I think he could have, he was just arguing from a totally factually incorrect spot and being really aggressive. I mean, he had a ton of followers and like a good follower following ratio, but Twitter was hiding his replies. The Twitter algorithm knew that he was kind of like being an extreme troll. It knew that, knew the bad sentiment or whatever.
And suggests he didn't get the set he wanted for Christmas.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably likely. This little door has some interesting reverse stud building techniques where these things are being flipped. You see that? Yeah, I've been trying not to mute too many people because I think that can actually drag you down in the algorithm if you do too much muting. But I muted him after going back and forth with him for a while, because it's like, this guy's, he's making these high engagement things that are just built on things that are factually incorrect. And when he gets called out for it, he's just calling people names. So not worth interacting with, and being really aggressive about it too. Not worth interacting with in the future.
Michael Caine says, yeah, but none of us got the set we wanted as kids. I don't know that I ever got a set that cost more than $30 until I was an adult, and I wanted it all.
Yeah, many such cases. I did have some bigger sets when I was a kid, one or two, but they were usually things that I bought myself. I didn't get big sets for Christmas, but I did really like the sets. My parents got me some really nice sets that were smaller. Okay, so this is gonna go on there like that.
And the studs are what hold it in there. That's pretty fun. Well, and that.
Well, this slider is what holds it in there.
And the studs on the top.
Oh yeah, yeah. But this is also a track.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, almost done with this bag.
I don't know if muting and blocking necessarily hurts your engagement. I feel like I haven't seen that when people are pulling apart the algorithm to find out, oh, they're suppressing links, that kind of thing, right? Like, I haven't seen anything that suggests that.
Well, the problem with any of that stuff is that it's just it's always just speculation because things could change at any time, you know. So this tilts forward a little bit here like this. Things could change at any time. Even if you look through the algorithm source code, there's no guarantee that is what is actually running in the system. So I think it's better just to think about what you see working for you and other people in your circles. And I feel like when I've just gone through, there's been some times when I've just gone through and like very aggressively muted people, and those were times when I didn't have much growth in terms of followers. So I think it's probably a pretty bad idea to mute and block a lot of people.
I don't know. I think that Elon Musk recently tweeted about unblocking people, and I don't know, but it seems to me like if you are blocking people or muting them, it's telling the algorithm, I didn't like this content, right? But then it's not telling it what to replace it with. Yeah,
I mean, there's other ways to do that too. Like you can say show me less of this tweet as well.
Right, and I do a lot of that. And seriously, everybody who keeps commenting under posts about people killing kids, I'm gonna mute you guys and or unfollow because I can't deal. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's certain ones that you just want to kill off, but like I think probably maybe one a day or a couple a week is fine.
Can I just keep going?
Yeah, but I think it's probably a very bad idea to like say go through a list of 50 people and block them all in one sitting. Idea. Like that is kind of a recipe for not. But I mean, just remember too that if you're looking at the For You,
tips it right to the exactly correct angle for it to actually be a correct.
If you're looking at the For You feed, I mean, what determines that a lot of it is what you interact with. If there's things you don't want to see, and if there's things that you want to see and see only, you can use a feed of those specific people only, right? So, I understand, like, it's sometimes worth muting people or blocking people if you don't want to see, like, if you don't want to see their tweets when somebody else that you follow is interacting with them. But outside of that, you pretty much never have to see anything that you don't want to, just by choosing what you interact with. And spending time looking at a tweet also will signal to the algorithm. Like if you're sitting looking at a tweet, composing a reply, then deleting it, then composing, like that will count towards boosting stuff like that tweet for you. So be careful in how you interact with.
Yeah, if you're like, I'm going to argue with this guy, and then like you sit there forever figuring out how you're going to say it.
Yep.
it's going to show you more stuff that you're going to want to argue with.
Yep.
You can go straight across.
Okay, cool. Good. Oh, this is fun little.
Michael Caine says his For You is pretty solid most of the time. And he thinks it works as intended.
Yeah, I think so too. It's definitely getting there. It can be a little fickle where sometimes if you interact with one particular thing, you'll see a bunch of it for a little bit. But then I find the solution to that isn't going on a blocking spree or something. It's just waiting a little bit. You know, just wait a little bit or interact with something else, you know. Like I interacted with some Lutheran and it was showing me a bunch of Lutheran stuff. So the solution to that isn't like mute all the Lutherans. It's just
don't
interact with something
Lutheran
else.
stuff.
and there's a few things that I've done recently. Like I have I've purposely followed things that are just positive that aren't things that I want to argue with. Like a number of people who just tweet about retro video games, and it's very anodyne stuff, you know, that's just gets the easy like and is fun, you know.
Nice. Stuff
like that. Getting more of that kind of stuff in your feed where it is just pleasant, nice content that isn't argumentative, I think is a good thing to do.
Yeah.
And then that kind of makes sure that your For You feed is not all like negative or even things to discuss, but just fun things too, you know.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So this is the studs go this way, but then it's going to get clipped in to these clips right here like this and set on these to make a surface like this for the windows to clip into.
Oh, cool.
Look at that. All right, so the windows are going to be the last thing here. Now, of course, these are all scratched up.
I didn't do it.
But what can you do? That's just... Look at that. It's horrible. Oh, well.
Sometimes when my For You feed is not quite right, I just give it a break and only go on my tweet deck. Because I have specific stuff that I'm looking for and want to interact with. And then
you could also just go to your following list and just like a bunch of your friends' stuff.
Yep.
That's cool. These slopes are just exactly right there.
That's cool, yeah.
It's really looking good. Pretty happy with this set.
And we found the window, so it is airtight. Yeah, there's no gaps. It looks great. Can you play with this and see it? Does it slide out the way that you thought?
Yeah, so I think this comes down like this and then... So... there's gonna be more back here with a little vehicle.
Yeah.
In it. And then this is an airlock that can get in that way. That is so cool. And I think there's enough space inside here that they can actually stand up inside there, like at their little computer consoles and stuff.
Fun.
Some of them can be sleeping, some of them can be working. And then 4 of them can fit in the cockpit. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you guys can see the way this is designed with these. There's these pieces that are like 3 studs wide, but then they have 2 studs in the middle, so that lets a minifigure fit in there.
Centered, yeah.
Yeah, because they need room for their arms.
Cool.
And let's see, do they fit in there with their backpacks on? Yeah, they do. So there's enough space with those things that they can sit. Very satisfying.
Yeah.
How they can fit inside there.
Michael Caine says, I love how the spaceship has steering wheels.
Yep. You can
Clearly the...
stand somebody so you can see inside there. That's just really cool. It looks nice.
I love how visual it is. Like, you can see what they're doing in there, you know, as opposed to like the Millennium Falcon when it's all closed up, you can't see.
And the problem with the Millennium Falcon too is that the characters can only really stand inside of it in certain spots, and they can't really even sit. You can't have characters sitting in the little couch by the game board with it closed because there just isn't enough room.
Well,
This robot will go somewhere in here too. I don't think he has a good spot to fit right now, but maybe he can just put this guy, could lay him down.
It can be off shift.
The robot can stand there.
Nice.
Great.
Very cool.
So 8, and I'm thinking it's probably just 8 and 9, right?
I think so. I think that's it. But we're going to be building some cool stuff here.
9 is mainly just the little engines and stuff. So,
but there's still a lot of like the upper wings.
The beginning of the set was a real slog, but the ending is coming together. And man, it's heavy. This is a heavy set.
Every time I turn it around.
Much bigger than I was expecting it to be, too. Very cool. I got to figure out some way of hanging some Lego ships from the ceiling, I think. Because running out of shelf space. This doesn't really go on the shelf with the Star Wars. You know what? Actually, this could go in the other room. This could go in the den.
Yeah.
Because I have other non Star Wars stuff in there, like the Pirates set, which needs to be dusted, and we can have the new Pirate set in there too.
Yeah.
So we could have kind of non-specific Lego stuff that we build together in there.
We skipped Lego Day. That's why everything's dusty.
Yeah, we once a year, on a good year, we have a Lego Day where we get everything out. We have too much to get all out anymore.
Yeah, probably.
But things get a good dusting. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I'm gonna try to do some game programming streams here this week. Probably I'll try to do one tomorrow, and maybe Thursday or Friday, depending on what else is going on. But I've got some neat stuff to show on my project, so stay tuned for that, and have a good rest of your night.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications. All right.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us.